The focus of a young man about to make his first start at the World Juniors, Eric Comrie, takes his turn in net tonight. Robby Fabbri was the story in Game 1, 4 points. He was a player of the game, though others were equally worthy. Nick Petan had 3 points and was brilliant for Canada. Tonight, the Canadians, wearing white, look to keep rolling against Germany at the World Juniors. As we say hello, Canada, James Duthie and Bob McKenzie with you. Welcome to night number 2 of the 2015 World Juniors, test number 2 for Canada against Germany. The schedule of this tournament always seems to be a slow build for the Canadians. The weaker opponents early, and as the new year draws closer, the opponents get tougher. And so with Finland and the USA looming tonight, one more chance for Canada to flex its offensive muscle, a muscle that was just popping last night against Slovakia. To get you ready for it, Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro. Guys?
James, thank you. A lot of talk last night about forwards like Nick Petan, Robby Fabbri, and Max Domi, but the other part of the equation for the Canadian coaching staff is they want a lot of push from the back end.
They haven't had the capability in the last couple of years to have such a mobile defense as they have as the group they've accumulated this year. You start with Madison Bowey from the Kelowna Rockets. Bowey's been better in each of the 5 or 4 games that we've seen so far, the 3 pre-tournaments and the game against in the opener against Slovakia. Aggressive, up the ice, creating chances. Josh Morrissey's a wonderful skater. He creates offense by getting up in the play, but his skating helps him be an outstanding defender. He can close on attacking forwards so quickly. The only left-right pair that the Canadian blue line has, they'll play against teams' top line as this tournament goes forth, but it's their mobility that is really a big help for them.
Since the Canadian Program of Excellence began in 1982, Canada has lost to Germany 18-0 in that stretch. The Germans narrowly avoided relegation at last year's World Junior. James?
All right, thank you, guys. It says something about the expectations of Connor McDavid that one game where he leads the team in shots but doesn't get on the scoreboard, and people are saying, is this a cause for concern? So is it?
Hey, Connor McDavid not getting a point in one World Junior game is not a cause for concern unless Connor McDavid's concerned about it. And that's what Ben Ragu was a little bit worried about in terms of the frustration level setting in. He's got unbelievably high expectations for himself, McDavid does. He wants to put points on the board, and he hasn't done that yet. But at this point, he and Nick Ritchie and Curtis Lazar will get their opportunity against Germany. I'm sure they're going to come out highly motivated. McDavid will want to try to get something going early. If they feel like they need to tweak the line over the course of the night, they can do that by moving either Braden Point or Rob Fabbri onto that line.
Oh, you're great. The great offensive players want to get their cookies in these early games, and almost everybody got them except for Lazar and McDavid and Ritchie in game number 1. The Canadians getting set to take to the ice here in Montreal. Another building full of red, white with black trim tonight as Eric Comrie gets set to lead Team Canada onto the ice. The drop of the puck next from Montreal. Your starting goalies are brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Comrie, the Edmonton native, second-round pick of the Jets, plays for the Tri-City Americans. .921 save percentage coming in. Kevin Reich starts for Germany. Played 1 period in a blowout loss to the Americans last year. Plays for the Green Bay Gamblers of the USHL. Gord Miller, Ray Ferraro, and your call.
And it's day 2 of this World Junior Hockey Championship. Fans piling in to see Canada take on Germany as the Germans open this tournament, and Canada plays its second game after an 8-0 win over Slovakia last night. And for Benoit Gros, a chance to see his team improve every day. The head coach of Gatineau just down the road from here in his 12th year behind the bench. His 4th year as the coach and general manager of that franchise. And he's facing a Montreal native coaching Team Germany. That's Pat Cortina, who grew up in St. Leonard, the Montreal suburb that gave us Roberto Luongo and Marty Brodeur. He went to Concordia University here. Jeffrey Miller of the U.S. and Tobias Verli of Switzerland are tonight's referees. For Germany last year, it was a close call. They played in the best-of-3 relegation final against Norway, lost the first game, won the next 2, and survived. That was the first time for Germany that they had survived relegation since 1996. Prior to last year, they'd been relegated in their 6 previous tournament appearances. And focus on Eric Comrie of the Tri-City Americans. The Edmonton native is a Winnipeg second-round pick. His dad's here to watch him tonight. Wasn't invited to try out for the Canadian team last year. That was a disappointment for him. He was tops in the Western League in save percentage at the time. This year, he's tied for the save percentage lead when he left for the Canadian camp. But there's Zach Fucale, who got the shutout last night. He's the backup tonight.
Comrie played one time in the pre-tournament games, the victory against Sweden. He gave up a power play goal and a penalty shot goal. He missed one of the practices in that pre-tournament schedule with a maintenance day issue. He hasn't played since, but hasn't missed another day. Gets his first start in the tournament here this evening.
Reinhart, Domi, and Duclair go to work for Canada in white against Germany in black. And here's Darnell Nurse bringing it ahead. As Nurse gains center ice and lifts that high off the glass, it bounces down to Duclair. And Max Domi goes in on Jonas Mueller. And Darnell Nurse with a big hit there on Manuel Wiedera. Dominic Cahoon picks it up for the Germans, playing in his third World Junior for them. Flips it down in the zone, and Darnell Nurse goes after it. And of course, a giant hole in the middle of the German lineup. Leon Draisaitl, the first-round pick of the Edmonton Oilers, third overall in last year's draft, not made available to the German team. A huge loss for them.
They were really hoping to have him available. Certainly they could use his skill, size, and they just don't have the depth of players to overcome such a big loss.
Kevin Reich is out to play, and he was on last year's team for Germany, appeared in one game for them. And now moved ahead by Parker Twomey, who plays for Sioux Falls in the United States Hockey League. These German players play all over the place in Europe and North America. Some of them have played for 4 or 5 teams this year.
Pat Cortina, the coach, was telling us the importance of the reason those players do play for different teams. There's just no German place for them to play at home.
Josh Morrissey with his shot, and Wright kicks that away. Now Nick Ritchie plays that behind the goal to Connor McDavid. And Madison Bowie steps up for it. Bowie spins it down in the corner for Curtis Lazar. Feeds it back in front, goes back to the point to Morrissey. Morrissey sends it back in front, tapped wide by Lazar. And the German player with a stick, he just retrieved it. And it's kicked down the ice by Mark Ellis, and as he does that, it's icing against the Germans.
Curtis Lazar hasn't made a dent offensively since he's been back with this team from the Ottawa Senators. What I saw in the first shift is more engaged physically. Lazar playing the wing for the first time this year. For the most part, been in the middle in Ottawa. He gets a couple of bumps in on that first shift. The more he can engage himself in the battle of the play, the more effective he's going to be. Last year's best all-around forward for Canada in Malmo.
Here's Nick Petan with it, one of the goal scorers for Canada in that 8-0 victory. Across to Robbie Fabry, who scored twice in the first 10 minutes of that game. Dylan Hetherington banks it off the end boards. Petan takes a swat at it. Still loose. Nick Paul couldn't get a stick on it. Picked up by Fabry. Fires it wide. Now at the line, Joe Hicketts can't hold it. And once again, the Germans ice the puck.
Ran into Robbie Fabry's parents in the hotel today. They were still buzzing a little bit after his 4-point performance last night, and he said, oh, they're just hopeful that it continues tonight. He's got a great chance here. He worms his way into the middle, keeps his stick active to get to the puck, just fires it to the left of Kevin Wright.
And here's Petan back with it. Last year, Germany scored first in the game against Canada, and the game was 2-2 in the first period. And a penalty coming now to Germany as Fabry had the puck. And so Canada will get the game's first power play 2.5 minutes into the game as Dorian Seftel goes off. He's the man who scored that 1-0 goal against Canada a year ago.
It's a hooking penalty for Seftel as Canada's had the puck in the German zone low, below the hash marks. There's the hook as Fabry keeps his legs moving to draw the penalty. And Canada's power play, which had 1 goal against Slovakia, gets the game's first chance.
Bowie back for Theodore. Cross to Domi. Max Domi works in, waits and shoots. Right to save. Rebound. Bowie put it wide. And Duclair banks it back to Domi. Max Domi, who's been on a scoring tear since the pre-tournament began. Back to Shea Theodore with a shot. That's just wide. Now bouncing back in front. Domi reaching for it. And it bounced away from Theodore. Domi winds his way in. Centers it just out of the reach of Bowie. And Reinhart finds Domi. Oh, what a move by Domi. Feeds it back to Theodore. Back across to Domi. Works in, drops it down to the goal line. Duclair back in front. Domi shoots. Oh, what a glove save by Kevin Wright.
Craig Button talked in our pregame show about Domi's feet and legs that drive the space to create room for his hands. And we're going to see an example of it here. The puck's going to go behind the net. Domi flips it through. Now watch his quickness when the puck comes back to him. Watch how quickly he attacks from the outside. The give and go back with Duclair, and the scoring chance denied by Kevin Wright.
Robbie Fabry off the face-off, win by Patan. Feeds across to Lazar. Curtis Lazar back in the corner for Patan. He finds Fabry. McDavid posted up on the back door. Here's Morrissey with it. Josh Morrissey to Connor McDavid. McDavid drops it down. Patan in front, and Wright makes the point-blank save on Lazar. And at the line, Fabry sprawls and knocks it down for Lazar. To McDavid. 45 seconds to go in the power play. Morrissey back across the top to McDavid. Works his way in, drops it down to Patan. He feeds Morrissey. A quick shot goes off a leg and wide. Stern blocked that shot. Now McDavid with it. Flips the puck back to the point. Here's Patan. Across to Morrissey. To Patan. Drops it down to McDavid. Works it back in front. Banks it off the pads of Wright. They score! Connor McDavid! You weren't going to keep him off the sheet forever. And he's got Canada's first goal to make it 1-0.
Breathe, kid, breathe. Relief for McDavid. He makes a nice move out of the corner, and he's going to get a break as the puck bounces back to him. Strong move to the front. He's trying to go to the back door to Robbie Fabry. The puck comes right back to him, and he slams it into the empty net. Fabry's on the back door to create the option. There's McDavid. Probably about the slowest shot that he's had in a long time, as it just slides through the sticks and the leg of Kevin Reich in the German goal, and Connor McDavid's first World Junior goal of 2015 is in the net.
And that was an emphatic celebration afterwards.
No matter what a player says, that they're not pressing, they don't feel the press. When you're a player of that skill set, when you don't have anything and everybody else is scoring around you, you start to feel it. And for McDavid, he can exhale.
16 goals in 18 games with Erie until he broke his hand on November 11th. So just back playing in meaningful games in the last 10 days or so. And he's got the lifter for Canada to make it 1-0. Fired down the German zone. And there's an icing call against Canada.
We've seen in the pre-tournament games and in the opener against Slovakia, when Canada has gotten one, they've scored a couple of times quickly. We'll see if Germany can hold Canada off here for a few minutes. The first pass is to Fabry. Kevin Reich actually stops it, and it bounces right back to Connor McDavid. And he's able to push it into the empty net.
Now Twomey with a steal. The puck bounces wide of the goal. And Lawson Krause takes a whack at it, and it's moved back to Yannick Moser, who plays for Ohio State in the NCAA. And here's Dylan Hetherington. Swift current Bronco pitches way ahead and finds Virtanen. And Jake Virtanen lifts that wide of the goal. Back it goes to Krause. Lawson Krause missed Virtanen with that pass. Dorian Seftel, who was in the box when McDavid scored, brings it out. Bieber couldn't corral the bouncing puck. And now Cahoon brings it in. Canada has 9 goals so far, scored by 8 different players. Here's Cahoon, being watched there by Reinhart. And the battle ensues in the corner for the loose puck. Cahoon feeds back to Seftel. For Cahoon, that pass missed. And Nurse has it for Canada. Dave Theodore with it now. Pokes it free. Looks ahead for Domi. That got tangled up. Now loose along the boards. Domi trying to kick at it. And Cahoon has it for the German. Feeds it back to Seftel. That long shot. Pinball's down in front. Shoveled just wide of the goal as Comrie stuck a pad out on the shot by Manuel Wiederer. Now a 2-on-1 the other way. Reinhart sends it across to Duclair. He's in too deep. Couldn't get the shot away. Now Duclair picks it up with a nifty move. Anthony Duclair throws it back in front, and Cahoon blocked that. Wiederer chips it down the Canadian line as the Germans will change, and Domi leaves it there for Morrissey. Picked off by Tim Bender. Former London Knight comes across the line. Kammerer sends it back. Door bounces just wide of the goal as Comrie reached for that. Kammerer plays it back for Fabio Wagner. That shot deflected wide. And now a penalty coming to Canada. It'll be Max Domi reaching in with the hook, and the Germans will go to the power play moments after Connor McDavid gave Canada the 1-0 lead.
Germany's going to get their first power play of the tournament. There's the hooking call on Max Domi. And one thing Pat Cortina told us, the German coach, he said, our guys will work. They won't back off, but lots of them haven't played at this level before. So we'll just have to wait and see how they react. And even though they've given up the power play goal, they've worked pretty hard. They've had a couple of shifts in the Canadian zone, and now they got a power play to try and get themselves on the board.
Gauthier wins the face-off cleanly. Sam Morin reaching for it. And now Gauthier clears that to the line and just out as Moser goes back for it. Yannick Moser in the back end along with Dorian Saftel. A lot of these German players haven't played on this stage, and a lot of them haven't played period this year. Mired on benches in the German second league or even the top league. There is no German junior league.
And there again is really the black hole of development for them. Is now with the problems in Russia with the ruble and the potential problems with the junior league there.
A great shot there by Parker Twomey, kicked away by Comrie.
Where are the players going to play? Where are they going to get on the ice? And a lot of them come to North America to play in the USHL or the North American Junior League, some in the CHL as well. But some get to stay and play closer to home in the MHL, the Russian Junior League.
There are 6 Germans in the National Hockey League this year, and there have been a lot of great German players over the years. When you think about the likes of Jochen Hasch and Marco Sturm and Uwe Krupp. Dennis Seidenberg's been a terrific player for a long time. Christian Ehrhoff. And that puck chipped over the glass by Petan. We're going to face off in the Canadian zone.
So Eric Comrie makes his first start for Canada in the World Junior Tournament, and he's going to be tested here with a nifty little move. And then as the puck bounces back to Parker Twomey, his shot is a quick one, left pad stop.
There's Bill and Roxanne looking on. You may know the name Bill Comrie. You probably have bought furniture from him at some time. Founder of the Brick Furniture chain and the Brick Tournament in Edmonton. And of course, Eric is the younger half brother of Paul and Mike Comrie, who both played in the NHL. "30 seconds to go in this German power play. Ader sends it in now for the Germans. And Joe Higgins goes back. Kraus picked up for the moment, now lost it. Sent back in front by Tipples, but played away by Kraus and back down the ice. If you missed it earlier, Slovakia upset the defending gold medalist from Finland with a 2-1 win here.
Fabulous goaltending performance.
Yeah, Dennis Godla was heroic for the Slovaks, especially in the third period. But they found a way after that 8-0 loss to Canada. Lazar kicks it ahead to Petan. Domi's in behind. Max Domi into the break. Domi! Oh, what a stop by Reich. Another terrific stop by Kevin Reich, who's been under siege here in the first period. As Max Domi had to break away from the blue line in. Here's Madison Bowie with it. Chips the puck out to center ice, and it's played back in by Nico Sturm. Dylan Hetherington, the Calgary native, slides it back to Madison Bowie. He was +5 in the game against Slovakia last night.
After the first couple of pre-tournament games, there was a thought that Bowie had more to give, that he could be better, and he really was. In the game against Switzerland, the final pre-tournament game, he was excellent. And then certainly in the opener against Slovakia, he was outstanding along with his partner, Josh Morrissey.
Virtanen had it stripped away. One concern the Canadian coaches have in games like this, bad habits.
And that's the hang on to the puck, make the move yourself, turn it over. Let's get a look at Nick Petan's heady play here. Look, he's got his head up. He knows Domi's coming out of the box, and it's a gorgeous pass to Domi. Domi goes to his forehand, and Kevin Wright makes the blocker stop. You see Domi come out, he button hooks back towards the Canadian line, and that allows him a flatter attack up the ice, allows Petan's pass to hit him in stride. And Domi robbed early in the first by the glove of Kevin Reich, this time the blocker.
Now Shea Theodore with a drive that goes off the leg of Ader. Lazar back on it. Germans will play their second game tomorrow night against Team USA, which is rested tonight. So a tough schedule to start for the Germans. Their key game here would be against the Slovaks as Lazar picks it off. Lazar walks back in front, goes right through the crease. And a penalty coming. Ritchie goes down.
It's Ritchie running into the goaltender.
It's going to get for goalie interference, and the Germans are going back on the power play.
One area that Canadian kids, and I should say North American kids, have to realize gets called even tighter than at home is the blue paint, the goal crease. Ritchie is going to the front of the net. He tumbles over top of Kevin Wright. For the second time in about 3 minutes, the Germans are on the power play.
Had their chances on the first one.
Really their best of the wrist shot by Tuomi. While Reinhart cleaned out the face-off there, he was 14-5 in the opener against Slovakia.
Chips it in Domi, short-handed. Domi drops it back off for Reinhart. Sam Reinhart peels back in the corner. Dominic Cahoon on him. And now Tipples lost the puck to Domi. Domi sends it back in front. Reinhart shoots and just missed high. What was that old Herb Brooks expression? The legs feed the wolf?
Legs feed the wolf. Domi's got the legs again tonight, and he's been relentless on the puck.
Here comes Cahoon across the line, drops it off for Tipples, in, shoots, cover, makes the stop. And he's able to hang on Frederick Tipples, who's having a terrific freshman year for Western Michigan in the NCAA.
So here's Domi onto the puck again. Reinhart tips it up the boards after winning the face-off. And Domi's going to get to the loose puck again and find Reinhart with it. Reinhart's shot misses. It actually hits Tipples behind the net.
Now Gauthier trying to chip it by, and Frederick Gauthier moves it out to Lawson Krause. 17-year-old Lawson Krause gets bumped off the puck, but Gauthier picks it up. And Gauthier peels back in the corner. Yannick Moser with it. Minutes ago in this German power play. And Eisenschmidt comes across the line, but Darnell Nurse steps into him. And Gauthier fires it down the ice. Canada has the day off tomorrow, takes on Finland on Monday, and then closes out the round robin on New Year's Eve against the United States. U.S. with a shootout win yesterday against Finland, so 2 points for that win. Canada got 3 for the regulation win against Slovakia. Every point crucial in the 4-game opening round.
There's no way that the Finns thought they'd be sitting there with 1 point after 2 games. Now the games become so critical for them. The worry is those quarterfinal crossovers, the single eliminations. You play yourself into one game that you don't want to be in.
Now Patan with it, trying to shove it out, picked off by Cahoon. Dominic Cahoon works in a long wrist shot, bounces down in front. Little wide to goal. As Ritchie steps out of the box for Canada. Hetherington on it now. Chops out ahead, and Cahoon had it skipped by him. And Nick Ritchie gives him a whack on the way by. Fabio Wagner with it. Pounds it down to the Canadian zone. Hopping on is Max Kammerer. We got bumped there by Canada's Dylan Hetherington. Now Kammerer. Lost the puck to Moran. Looks ahead to Ritchie. Picked up by McDavid. He's taken down. And a penalty coming to Germany. Connor McDavid taken down, and Canada with a 1-0 lead will go to the power play at the 2015 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Back inside the Bell Center, Canada leading 1-0 on a goal by Connor McDavid. Nobody under more pressure to produce offense on Team Canada than McDavid. And head coach Benoit Gruel sensed that in the last couple of days. Actually pulled McDavid aside earlier today, told him that he was sensing the stress in him. He wanted him to relax, try and have a little bit of fun and not let the pressure get to him. McDavid is a guy that puts a lot of pressure on himself. So far, so good here tonight. Gord, he's got a goal, and now has drawn a penalty for Canada.
Yeah, he's out there in the power play as Mueller goes off, and Lazar digs for it, along with McDavid and Patan. Nick Patan to Connor McDavid. Slides it back to the point to Josh Morrissey. And McDavid back with it. Into the corner for Patan. And Nick Patan to Morrissey. Lazar standing in front. Here's McDavid, walks out, back in front, Lazar scores! Curtis Lazar, and guess who's on the sheet as well?
They missed on this play on the first power play. It was McDavid on the half wall to Patan at the goal line, and Lazar with a one-timer, but Kevin Reich made an outstanding stop. This time, Reich can't get to it. Patan's on the half wall, McDavid, it's right on the tee. You see Lazar give a little beaver tap. He wants it, but he doesn't stay still. Even though Lazar moves just a couple of feet, that's 1 or 2 feet more than Safetel feels he can get out to get his stick on him. Lazar's moved to the spot for the pass, and he makes no mistake, and Canada's up by a pair.
If you were going to talk about some things that Canada wanted to do better after the game against Slovakia, get Lazar, McDavid going, maybe work on the power play a bit, done.
Yep, 13 minutes in, and they got a couple of those, and McDavid's got a goal and an assist, and no points seems a long, long time ago for both he and Curtis Lazar.
And that's 10 goals from 9 different players now for Canada. So that scoring depth that Benoit Gros spoke about before the tournament coming into play. And that long shot by Parker Tuomi handled easily by Eric Comrie. Now Tuomi back with it, loose in the corner. Trying to get by Darnell Nurse, who knocked that away. And Tuomi picks it out again. Takes another shot from Nurse. Theodore trying to knock it out. And finally, Nurse picks up the loose puck and moves ahead with it. Edmonton Oilers first-round pick in 2013. Feeds ahead of Virtanen. Jake Virtanen in, fired it wide. Rebound, he shot it wide again. Lawson Krause with it on Eisenschmidt, and Tuomi has it. The speed on lines 1 through 4 is what a lot of hockey observers were talking about last night with Team Canada.
Well, when we were in Malmo last year, I think as the tournament went on, we saw that they didn't have enough get up and go to create enough offense, and when they were putting this team together, there seemed to be a real lean towards speed and skill, and certainly been on display here in the first 4 periods of this tournament.
Frederick Tipples works his way in. Try to slide that back in front. Find Vietor with that pass. And Paul can't squeeze that by Bender. And Patan takes a whack at it. Cahoon had it tied up. And finally the puck moves about 6 feet and leaves the zone. And Josh Morrissey back to pick it up. Rossi goes to Bowie. Second round pick of the Washington Capitals, Madison Bowie takes the return pass from Robbie Fabry. Works in, works it around, shoots, and Wright got a pad down. Bender then blocked the rebound. Morrissey, cross to Bowie. Bowie shoots, that's blocked in front. This time Fabio Wagner got in the way. And Vladislav Filin with it now. Filin plays for Salzburg, Austria in the MHL, the Russian Junior League. They've got a team based in Austria.
Actually, all 3 of these forwards play together on a line. For a coach from Roslyn, BC, Derek Mayer, a former Detroit Red Wings draft pick. Derek played over in Germany and then has built a life in hockey over there as a coach for several different places.
Now got up set ice by Duclair. Reinhart tried to play it around. It was intercepted for the moment. Moved ahead by Kammerer. And Samuel Morin with that long reach took it away. The 6'7" Sam Morin. Tough guy to get around. Plays that back in deep, and now Morin holds the line.
You're getting around him, you're going a long way. I mean, his wingspan is enormous.
Here's Duclair with it. Back to Hicketts, Joe Hicketts. Had that picked off by Fabio Foll. And then Foll steps around Hicketts, who's got a hand on him. A penalty coming to Canada. As Morin touches up, it'll be Hicketts who goes off. And Germany's going back on the power play with 4:10 to go in the period. Hicketts gets called for holding the stick.
5 power plays in the period. Canada's got 2 power play goals. Germany going to their 3rd power play. There's the hold by Hicketts. That's a pretty nice move by Kammerer to move from the outside back to the in and then jump back to the outside, causes Hicketts to commit the foul.
One of the great culture shocks in hockey, Ray, away from the Western Hockey League to international hockey. The officiating standards are substantially different.
There may be greater culture shocks,
but that's one of them.
That would be one. When the players play international hockey for the first time, and these kids have all played at some level before, whether it's a U17 or U18, there are penalties called you're just astounded at. You just can't believe that it's a penalty, and you have to learn. The only way you can learn is through experience.
Jonas Muller plays it across for Wisma. Walks in and shoots. He was looking backdoor for Cahoon. The pass is out of his reach. Tipples to Cahoon. Dominic Cahoon has a look with Viederer parked in front. There's a shot by Tipples. That deflected wide. Nurse back on it. Backhands it around the boards. Hetherington on it. And Nurse racing to it. Fires it down the ice with 1:30 to go in the German power play. 2-0 Canada leading on goals by Connor McDavid and Curtis Lazar, who each have their first of this tournament. And Frederick Tipples from Cologne, Germany, works his way ahead. His older brother Dominic played in the team last year with him. And now Reich leaves it there for Bender.
Tipples plays, as you mentioned earlier, at Western Michigan for Andy Murray. 7 goals in 13 games, played in the USHL the last couple of years as well. One of those players we've mentioned a few times that has played most of his junior age years in North America.
Now Bowie chips that to the corner. He's tied up there by Tuomi. 50 seconds to go in this power play. Gauthier kicking at it. And Lawson Krause picks it up as Morin jumps into the rush with him. Now Morin peels off on a change as Krause chips it ahead. That's spun around by Bender. Now Krause will go off as well. 2:45 to go in the first period. Bender, long slap pass, had Michaelis in behind the Canadian defense. Now Michaelis with it. Feeds for Tuomi. And that pass was blocked by Domi. At the point, Moser feeds across, and the shot by Patrick Kurtz was blocked. And Reinhart picks it out. He's got Domi with him, and Domi steams ahead. Kurtz stepped in front of that pass, or Domi was away again. Yeah, the legs feed the wolf, and the wolf is hungry tonight.
He's got the sniff on for sure. That's a couple of times where he's got behind the German defense. One time, Patan hit him. Reinhart was waiting for him to turn around. He didn't quite connect on that play.
No shot for Germany on that power play. Patan in for Duclair. Anthony Duclair got poke check. And now Theodore has to retreat with Max Kammerer bearing in on him. Kammerer spent last year with the Regina Pats of the Western League. And Theodore back for it. Here comes Nick Patan along with Braden Point. And that lead pass is chipped into the crowd by Jonas Muller. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. Your Home Depot gift card gets you the gift you really want. Let's do this. Lord Miller, Ray Ferraro, along with our TSN production crew on this Saturday in Montreal. Day 2 of the World Junior Championship, and it's already got lots of intrigue. And by the end of the tournament, you will scarcely remember the beginning.
Yes, who looks good now might not look so good in a week or so. We've seen that tournament after tournament. No better example than last year's winner, Finland, who didn't have a very good preliminary round and all of a sudden caught fire when they needed to.
Chip by Shea Theodore as Nico Stern goes looking for it. And Morrissey has some room to roll. Minute to go in the first period. Morrissey ahead for McDavid. Chips it by Cahoon, takes him down. No penalty on the play. Morrissey steps up, knocks that puck ahead to McDavid. McDavid trying to shovel that back in front for Fabry. He played minor hockey with McDavid as a 13-year-old. In comes Lazar, shoots, that's blocked. Bouncing puck still in front. Tipples picks it out. Intercepted by McDavid. McDavid works it back in front and shot it wide. Nurse. Down to Fabry. 30 seconds to go in the period. Fabry walks out, has time, works it back in front, missed McDavid with that pass. Now McDavid back on it. And finally has to go off with a change. There was simply no gas left in the tank. Nurse, though, knocks the puck down at the line. In comes Nurse. Plays it down for Ritchie. Nick Ritchie picks it out. Feeds back to Hicketts. Across he goes to Nurse. Final seconds. Nurse shoots loose. Puck in front. Off the post. Looked like Lawson Krause got a shot at that. Canada with a 2-goal lead. Very nearly made it 3 at the very end of that first period. Reich was down and out.
And watch Kurtz come in behind him. Reich makes the first stop. The puck goes through, and there's Kurtz on the goal line.
Whoa.
that close to a 3-0 lead, but Kurtz is able to shovel it into the corner and keep the game at 2-0.
Canada shoots Germany by a count of 11-4. And our first intermission is coming up. You're watching the 2015 World Junior Hockey Championship from Toronto and Montreal on TSN.
Here's McDavid with Ryan Rashad.
Connor on the board with a goal in the opening frame. I know a lot have been made about the fact that you didn't have a point in the first game, but was the pressure getting to you at all?
Oh, not really. I mean, obviously, not getting a point in an 8-0 win is a little different, but
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. We got the win yesterday, and that's all that matters. And now we're looking forward to this game here.
We'll let you take a look at the goal here. Not a super high skill goal. You're just standing in the crease, whacking away. That's sometimes the way you have to get it done.
Yeah, when I've had some good chances even through the preseason, and even in the first game I had a whole bunch of chances, and sometimes that's the way you got to get the first one.
Looks like the hand feels okay. You hit the glass pretty hard there.
Yeah, that's the broken one, so it felt pretty good. So
Thanks, Connor.
thanks.
Kid looked very good in the first 20 minutes, as did Canada, up 2-0. We'll take one more break and get you back for the second from Montreal right after this on the 2015 World Junior Hockey Championship on TSN. The first period scoring summary is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Also in there with McDavid's great first period. Petan with 2 more assists now takes over the scoring lead for the team with 5 points overall through 4 periods. Gordon Ray and the call of the second.
So we're in day 2 of the World Junior Championship, but what you're going to need by day 10 is a good power play.
Certainly one that can create some chances. Against Slovakia, the Canadian power play looked a little bit out of step. This evening, they've looked synced and they've been very crisp. This triangle play has worked twice for them. McDavid, Petan, and Curtis Lazar. This is the first one. There's the second one. They look almost identical. The key is Curtis Lazar moves a couple of feet so he creates a passing lane that the defender can't get out and get a stick on him. That allows the pass to be completed, and Lazar hasn't taken any time with it on his stick before he's directed the shot at Kevin Reich.
So the teams will start the second period 5-on-5, with Canada holding a 2-0 lead on Germany. Once upon a time, Canada recorded an 18-2 win against the Germans in the darkest days of Germany at this tournament. 1999 might have been the very low point for German junior hockey, when the Germans finished 4th in the B pool. That means you're 14th in the world. There's Moser with a shot that bounces off the end boards. And by the way, the reputation of the end boards and glass in Montreal precedes it. Even people who've never been here before have heard about it. Mueller fans on that shot, drops it back in the corner. And Dominic Cahoon spins away from Darnell Nurse, but Shea Theodore lifts that up and out. And look at Max Domi all over Jonas Mueller. And finally settle things down is Yannick Moser. Tomorrow, Germany plays the United States in the only game here in Montreal. Michaelis up for Eisenschmidt. Works around and gets a good shot as he moves around Madison Bowie. And Nick Ritchie steps up. Wagner knocked that away from him. Ritchie feeds through the middle for McDavid. The pass just missed. And then Ritchie goes barreling into Tim Bender. Here's Ritchie onside with it. Loops it back in front for McDavid. He missed. Bowie shoots. Rebound. Loose in front. Oh! Lazard, a wide open net, but reaching back to get a stick on it. A German defender knocked it away. Was that Wagner who did that?
Wide open net for the second time in about a minute and 50 seconds. Remember, right at the end of the first period, it was an open net.
Yeah, they're coming in a line change, but this time they're offside.
In the first period, it was stopped by Patrick Kurtz. This time, Wright gets hit high in the chest on the shot, and it's going to bounce up in the air and result in a scramble in front of him. He can't get to it. And that time it's Parker Twomey that comes back to deflect the chance from Curtis Lazar up over the top of the net.
It was 6, not 16, but Kevin Wright can thank his defenders for saving a couple of goals so far tonight. Now loose in front for Nick Paul, who whistles it wide. And played down low to Fabry. Vladislav Filin with it. Filin is a native of Omsk, Russia. Two of the Russian players, including their backup goaltender, actually two of the German players that are born in Russia. And they found a home in Germany playing junior hockey. Fabry lost the puck to Filin. And it shipped ahead to Camera. Hickett's knocked it away. And Nick Patan feeds it back here. James Duthie mentioned another 2 assists for Nick Patan. All he ever does is put up points. He was the 4th leading scorer in the Western Hockey League last year, despite playing a dozen fewer games than anyone else.
Had 4 goals last year in Malmo when he was one of Canada's top producers on the power play. Of course, Anthony Mantha had a fabulous tournament for Canada. Curtis Lazar as well up front.
There's Jake Virtanen banking it back for Sam Morant. And Morant shields it off, and Josh Morrissey with a shot up the outside of the post. Virtanen back to Morrissey. It's hard not to say Josh Morrissey, the Prince Albert Raiders. He was traded a couple weeks ago to Kelowna. In his 4th year in the Western Hockey League, Morant plays it there for Braden Point. And the Point spins away from Patrick Kurtz. And Morant has to go back to the Canadian zone and play it across to Morrissey. Through the middle for Point. And Braden Point goes leaping ahead. Nick Ritchie feeds it back to Morrissey. Holds the line and fires it right back down behind the German goal to Ritchie. And in the midst of a change, and Point finally gets off as McDavid comes on. Lazar bounces it back down to Ritchie. Fields off Septo. And Lazar banks it back to the point, held by Nurse. Back in deep to Ritchie. In front for McDavid, he can't get the shot away. Now McDavid feeds back in front. Lazar was tied up. And Nico Sturm brings it ahead. And play is called as the puck moved up to center ice and bounced into the Canadian bench.
Zach Fucale, much like Eric Comrie did the other night, had to make a stop on the Canadian benches. The puck is cleared into the bench by Sturm. This is a shoulder stop by Fucale. That's turned out to be the most dangerous seat around.
Now, we talked about this last night. The goalies wear their gloves on the bench to, protect themselves, presumably, but also to hide food. And we know this because our colleague Jamie McLennan was once caught. He was sent in to play a game. He had 2 hot dogs in his catching glove.
What else are you going to put in there?
In comes Tiffles with it now. And Shea Theodore wraps it around for Anthony Duclair. Looking for Max Domi. That pass is broken up. And Comrie leaves it behind the goal for Theodore. The Aldergrove, BC native. Plays for Seattle in the Western League. Goes ahead for Darnell Nurse. Nurse out for Duclair. In across the line to Domi. Max Domi back in front. Nurse taps it on goal, and Reich steers that away. Reinhart back to Theodore. His quick shot goes just wide. Now Reinhart back on it. Bringing back is Tiffles. And finally Cahoon has it for the German. Dominic Cahoon slides that down in the Canadian zone as Comrie leaves it there, and both teams will change. Theodore snaps that pass ahead for Fabry just out of his reach. And Bender is back to pick it up. Now Fabry picks it up. Robbie Fabry, nifty move, shoots right, has a look back, he's got it. And the puck drops down, and the German goaltender pounces on it quickly.
Up the players that are really quick for Canada up front is Robbie Fabry. Fabry had a couple of goals and an assist, or a couple goals and 2 assists rather, yesterday against Slovakia. Watch how quickly he goes from the right side of the ice. He smells the loose puck and he gets right on to Bender. Bender doesn't handle it very well, and Fabry, with some help from Patan, gets a scoring chance. That all comes again from the ability to skate and close the ice that the German defender had to clear the puck.
Now it's loose in front. Fabry reaching for it. Finally picked up by Bender. And Tim Bender brings it ahead. And across the line, the play's offside, as Parker Twomey couldn't get his foot down in time. Take a look at Robbie Fabry, the Mississauga, Ontario native, who was the Ontario League playoff MVP last year for Guelph, which won the Ontario League title. He's got 18 goals in 22 games with Guelph. His coach there is Scott Walker, who was an assistant coach with Team Canada this year. Now in behind the German goal, Kai Visman plays it ahead. And the pass just misses Max Kammerer. Phelan chips it in, back goes Hetherington. The wall was sealed, Phelan comes in, he falls, and Krause has it for Canada. Lawson Krause and Connor McDavid, the 2 draft-eligible players for Canada in this tournament. And Krause leads the rush for Canada. In he comes, Krause shoots, and Reich knocks that away. Now Krause back with it. Lawson Krause move behind the goal, picked up the puck again, finally flipped away. Kai Visman cut that to the line, but not out. Krause back on it. For Frederick Gauthier, his pass misfired. And Andreas Ader sends it back down to the Canadian line. Joe Hicketts flips that ahead for Ritchie. The pass bounced away from him. And Ritchie knocks it down to the line, plays that to an open wing. Kick back by Lazar. Here's Bowie with it, trying to find McDavid. Off the side of the net, McDavid took a whack at that and almost scored. Fabio Foll moves it ahead, and Schmidt with a chance. He goes sliding into the end boards, and Morrissey collided with Comrie. Lazar ahead to Ritchie, couldn't find McDavid with it. Now Stern kicks it there for Foll. Being harassed by Ritchie, Foll works it back in the corner. Slides it back to Mueller. His shot through the traffic. Comrie knocked that away. Now Wagner fires it wide. Nico Stern being watched there by McDavid. 12.5 to go in the second period. Josh Morrissey with it. Up for Lazar. Quickly ahead to McDavid. In comes Connor McDavid. Steps around Schmidt-Petter. Connor McDavid in. Still works it down low. And McDavid tried to throw that back in front. The pass missed Lazar. Wagner for Tipples. Germans are changing as Tipples comes in. A penalty coming up to Canada now. With 12:06 to go. It'll be an interference call against Canada. And the Germans are going to the power play when we come back.
Germany goes back to the power play here, their 4th of the night. Ritchie is going to the bench, and he runs right over top of Cahoon. Interference is called. And despite the domination, just a 2-0 Canadian lead. Germany out with the man advantage.
Cahoon wins the draw back to Mueller. Tipples down to Dominic Cahoon. In the corner for Tipples, who walks out, sends it in front, and Moran knocked that away.
That was a good play by Moran. That had backdoor open net all over it.
Here's Cahoon back with it. Feeds it back in front. Tipples sends it out there, and Comrie kicks it away. Eric Comrie kicks that right back into the slot. Now Hetherington plays it away. Ader digs for it in the corner. Now Cahoon racing to it. But Domi gets there first and finds Reinhart. In comes Reinhart, one-on-one with Mueller. Sam Reinhart tried to pull it around him, but lost the puck. Tipples has it back the other way. Frederick Tipples fires it around. Ader looking for it. Hickett stepped in front of him. And Cahoon falls. Plays it there for Ader in the corner. Cahoon back with it. Works it back at the point. And the shot by Moser deflects just wide. Hickett's back on it. Brings it around the boards, and Moser able to hold the line for Germany. Cahoon. Kalis is standing down on the goal line, goes back to Moser. Now Cahoon snaps it across to Bender. Back to Moser. To Cahoon, tees it up and shoots. That's blocked by Nurse and fired down the ice by Paul. 35 seconds to go on the Nick Ritchie penalty. 10:40 to go in the second period. Yannick Moser up ahead for Twomey. Parker Twomey couldn't handle that pass. Now it's moved back in front. And Michaelis with a shot that was blocked by Gauthier. Eisenschmidt racing to it, trying to play it back for Moser. Not able to hold the line. Krause has it. Feeds across to Gauthier, who couldn't get there in time. And Gauthier fires it down in the German zone. Final seconds now on the Ritchie penalty. Eisenschmidt picks his way ahead for the German. There by Henriksen. And Ritchie steps up for Canada. Sam Morin knocked off stride. Eisenschmidt works it down to Seftel. And here's Morin with it. Tough play on his backhand. Lazar picked it up, and now Henriksen with it for Canada. Shots are even this period, 5-5. 2 goals the game scored in the first as Paul centers it. In comes Paul. Knocked away from him at the point. Bowie. Crisscrossing with Lazar, drops it back. Lazar in, shoots, just missed short side. Morrissey waiting for it. Cross he goes to Bowie. Winds and shoots and goes off the stick of Sturman wide. Paul back with it. Here's Nick Paul loose behind the German goal. In the corner with it, being bumped there by Seftel. And Bowie has to retreat as Nico Sturm chipped it by him. Here you see a Sturm wearing number 19 for Germany. No relation, we're told. As Foles sends it back down to the Canadian zone.
Marco Sturm was a heck of a player for a long time. He could skate, he could check. Knee injuries really robbed him later in his career.
In comes Duclair now with a shot. He fired it wide. And Virtanen back on it. And Virtanen flips it back down in behind the German goal. 8:45 to go in the second period. Virtanen loose behind the German goal. Banks that back to Theodore. Cross to Bowie, able to hold the line. And Bowie goes down to point. Braden Point feeds it back to Bowie. It skips off his stick this time, and he has to retreat. Bowie snaps it across for Duclair. And Bowie jumped into the slot, but Duclair couldn't get the puck back to him. Mueller. Up at center ice. Richard Nurse stepped in. Darnell Nurse rather stepped into him. Not his dad, Richard. In comes Ader with a shot, and Comrie steers that high off the glass. Here's Ader with it. Into the corner, the Germans will change his point. Banks it back across for Theodore. Shea Theodore's pass was broken up, and Point picks it up. He's got Duclair with him. In comes Braden Point, shovels that down, and both he and Duclair will change. Now Moser with it. Up ahead for Tiffels. Poked away by Theodore, and play is called at the Canadian line. The World Junior Championship on TSN returns after this. Time now for Chevy Possibilities, and today we feature Eric Comrie, who started skating at the age of 2. We asked him the first NHL player he met. Well, brother Mike, of course. Favorite NHL player, Carey Price. They both played in Tri-Cities in the Western Hockey League. And his why number 1? It's a classic goalie number. Indeed it is. For Europeans, a lot of them, it's 20. In North America, 1, 35, and 30. Ader in, shoots, and Comrie makes the stop.
He's had to make a couple of good stops. He's looked sharp this evening, 11 shots.
Now Cahoon trying to feed that back in front.
Cahoon and Tiffels are dangerous when they're on the ice together. Created some chances for Germany.
In comes Robbie Fabry with it, spins it back in front. Racing back was Ader to take that pass away. Ader's 18 years old, went through last year's draft, played for the Vancouver Giants last year, part of the season anyway.
Yeah, just 19 games last year. This year in the Russian junior leagues, having a good year, 30 points in 35 games.
Long shot by Wagner was blocked in front by Henriksen for Canada. And now back at center ice, Twomey with it. Now Krause comes in. Lawson Krause for Jake Virtanen. And the puck skipped over the head of Krause back into the corner. And Mueller has it now for the German. Braden Point feeds it down. Banked by him. Michaelis with it. There's rink wide for Twomey, but Henriksen steps up and chops that back down to the German zone. Shots are 16-11 in favor of Canada. And over the head of Hickens, it goes into the penalty box. They'll say that deflected off the glass. No penalty against Germany. So special night for Eric Comrie to get his first World Junior start. Mom and dad in the crowd. And a long wait for Eric Comrie, and a long wait for Bill Comrie to see his son play in the World Junior. Mike was cut twice by Team Canada in the late 90s. Might have been a mistake the one year they didn't have much goal scoring, and Mike could really score. Of course, talking about that with you is kind of a sore subject. when you had 53 at Christmas and weren't picked. So I'm not going to go back there again.
That always makes my shoes too tight.
Yeah, it's funny. It's 30 years.
You think you'd let it go? Oh, no, I can't.
No. Oh, no.
But I mean, the tournament was nothing like this. I mean, it would have been so much fun to play in, and look at these kids and the opportunity they would get now to play in a tournament that's grown like this.
Well, the stage has grown. Now this tournament is a major part of the hockey calendar. It always was for hockey executives. GMs, coaches, scouts always came to watch this tournament. But now, in terms of the attention it gets from fans, media, this really is one of the biggest stages in the hockey world.
I would say one of the things I've learned about it in my time doing it is the interest from some of the other countries and the viewership that they get television-wise, that we assume Canada's the only people that watch this, and oh no, we're very wrong in that regard.
When the Finns came home for winning the World Junior last year in Sweden, they were welcomed by the Prime Minister. Now Madison Bowie with it. Plays it across to Josh Morrissey. Lazar gets bumped in front of the Canadian bench, and it's back down behind the Canadian goal where Comrie will play it. High off the glass for Morrissey. Up ahead for McDavid. To Lazar. And Lazar chips it ahead. McDavid on his horse trying to track down Tipples. And Tipples stepped in front of him. Now Ritchie with the hit. McDavid comes in for it. And Mueller tries to play it around, but Morin stepped in front of him, and a penalty coming up to Canada. That's Sam Morin who will go off for taking down Andreas Eder, and Germany's getting a power play here late in the second period.
There's contact with the right foot of Eder along the boards. The puck is being rimmed around the boards. He's going to play it. Watch Morin's left foot make contact with Eder's foot. It seems like they're going to the puck together. Morin called for the trip. Germany with another power play.
Eisenschmidt with it now. Moves behind the goal, but Darnell Nurse has it. Nurse lost the puck to Eisenschmidt. Michaelis puts it back in the corner. Hickett's waiting for it. Fans on the first clearing attempt. And now banks it across to Nurse. And Darnell Nurse just lifts that down to the German zone. Reich had to play that carefully. Long lead pass. In comes Michaelis on the breakaway. Stopped by Comrie. Mark Michaelis got in behind the Canadian defense, and Eric Comrie keeps him out.
Canada's on a change, and they don't account for Michaelis. Watch Michaelis up by the red line. Canada's changing. Hicketts goes to the bench. Bowie doesn't seal the middle, and Hetherington can't get out in time. This is a gorgeous pass by Tim Bender. And Comrie sharp to close the 5-hole.
Now Mueller with a shot that was blocked by Domi. And Mueller back with it. Into the corner to Cahoon, to Tipples. Dominic Cahoon puts it back across for Tipples, with Eder standing in front. Cahoon kicks it for Tipples. Mueller waiting for it, but they go back to Cahoon instead. Now Tipples back to Mueller. Waits and shoots off the skate of Domi again. That's 2 shot blocks, his penalty kill for Domi. Tipples back with it. Mueller plays it back across, kept in by Visman. And Mueller back with it. Across to Visman. Back to Mueller. Into the middle, shoots, that's blocked and fired to the line, but not out by Bowie. Cahoon trying to feed that back in front. Hetherington blocks it. And Sam Reinhart banks it back down the ice. 20 seconds to go in this German power play. Jonas Mueller goes for the Berlin Polar Bears in the German top league. Across for Moser. Hickett's for it, plays it around. And Twomey with it. Parker Twomey got tied up there by Paul. And now Morin steps out of the box for Canada. 1 shot on goal for Germany on that power play. And here's Darnell Nurse with it. With a head of steam, in comes Nurse. Steps around Moser, drops it off for Lazar. And a big hit in the corner as Lazar was taken in by Eisenschmidt. Parker Tuomi with it. Bounces it down in the Canadian zone. Comrie plays it away. And Patan taps it back for Theodore. Back across to Morrissey. He was being lined up there by Sturm. And Safdal has a hustle back for the Germans. Being shadowed there by Virtanen. Morrissey ahead for Theodore. That pass picked off. And Nico Sturm plays it ahead. Germany out shooting Canada 10-5 here in the second period.
Canada with the 2 power play goals tonight, not generated a whole bunch at 5-on-5. Germany's done a really good job against them.
And here comes Sturm with a head of steam again, being bumped there by Patan. Morrissey. Pops it back for Theodore. Morrissey got belted there. There's a penalty coming to Germany as Nico Sturm stepped into Josh Morrissey. And finally touched up by Bender, but Canada gets a late power play here in the second period.
An over-aggressive penalty by Germany as Nico Sturm gets to Morrissey, hits him on the numbers from behind. So he'll go to the penalty box, and here's that breakaway pass again as Michaelis gets in behind the defense. Comrie with the save, and so dejected with the opportunity that he had to cut the lead in half. Canada 2 for 2 on the power play, looking to stretch this out and break a little bit of the German spirit here. With a 2-0 lead, they can stretch it to 3.
Reinhart, Duclair, and Domi up front. And that's going to be a 10-minute misconduct as well to Sturm. So it's 2 and 10, and Ader will serve the minor penalty. Morrissey and Fabry on the back end of the power play for Canada. Josh Morrissey across to Max Domi. Domi in for Duclair and feeds it back across, fluttered wide by Fabry. Max Domi drops it down to Duclair. Back in front for Domi, couldn't connect. And here's Morrissey back at the point for Duclair. Drops it down to Domi, feeds it back in front. The pass just missed Fabry. And now Morrissey can't hold it, and Robbie Fabry streaks back to pick it up. Duclair. Red line for Reinhart. Final minute now, the second period. Fabry ahead to Morrissey. And Josh Morrissey peels back with Duclair standing in front. Domi with it. Shoots, and Wright makes the stop. There's no rebound, and he'll hang on. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. Your Home Depot gift card gets you the gift you really want. Let's do this. Kevin Wright, the 19-year-old who plays for Green Bay in the United States Hockey League, has been a big part of the story for Germany here tonight. Jay Theodore to Connor McDavid. Feeds it down to Patan, looks back in front, bending, and that was Madison Bowie who pinched in from the point. And now Lazar around to McDavid. Wagner couldn't clear it out. McDavid swats it back in for Patan. Now chipped back to the point for Theodore. Across he goes. Bowie winds and fires. It goes off the hand of Jonas Mueller and wide.
So Germany's going to try and pressure up on the half wall, and when they do, that leaves this 2-on-1 down low. Really nice pass from Patan, and it bounces off of Madison Bowie's stick. And then he one-times this shot, a little bit impatient. That's twice on this power play. First Max Domi, then Madison Bowie. Shots from the wing that really don't have a chance to generate much.
Face-off was won by Patan, but Canada can't hold the line. And now Lazar fans on the pass. Feeds it back for Theodore. Jay Theodore to Nick Patan. That pass bottled up. And rink wide it goes, on the line, held by Lazar. Final second of the period now. And Moser will just bounce it down to the Canadian zone. And time will expire after a scoreless second period. Canada will have 25 seconds of power play time to carry over to the third period after being outshot 10-6 by Germany in the second. You're watching the 2015 World Junior Hockey Championship from Toronto and Montreal on TSN.
Your second period scoring summary brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. 10-6, the shots in favor of Germany. Canada with about 25 seconds left on the power play to see if they can make it 3. Gordon Ray.
You know, Pat Cortina, the German coach, is from Montreal. He was excited to coach here tonight, but he had trepidation. He was worried how his team would do after watching Canada blow out Slovakia last night. Germans have been good.
I think they've been really good. They've been aggressive on the puck. Their top-end players, Phelan, who we saw with the shot right there, Max Kammerer is another one. Eisenschmidt is very quick. He's had a couple of chances. He plays in the Western Hockey League in Medicine Hat. And then their best chance of the second period, the long breakaway pass to Michaelis, stopped by Eric Comrie. I don't think Pat Cortina could be much more proud of his team than he is right now. After 40 minutes, Canada hasn't got anything 5-on-5. It's the 2 power play goals that's been the difference. They've had to work hard for their 2-0 lead.
And now Michaelis fires it down in the Canadian zone. With time winding over on this power play to start the third period. Back Domi across the line. Michaelis intercepts that and plays it back out to center ice. Germany back in action against Team USA tomorrow night. As Duclair works his way in. Anthony Duclair has some time. Crisscrossing with Theodore. And Ader is on the ice now for the Germans. Sturm still has 8 minutes to serve and a misconduct. Here's Reinhart with it. Bowie banks it off the boards. And Domi with it. Banks it back down to the German zone and goes off on a change.
Robbie Fabry starts this period with Connor McDavid and Jake Virtanen. See if Fabry gets a little more ice time. If Benoit Gros experiments a little bit with his forward lines at 5-on-5.
Now Virtanen with it, along with McDavid and Fabry. And the pass was broken up at center ice. McDavid caught a rut in the ice there and fell awkwardly. Now Darnell Nurse banks it back for Morrissey. Morrissey up ahead for Virtanen, bowls his way around Wagner. Nifty move, Virtanen shoots off the outside of the goal. And Fabry back with it. Banks it down to McDavid. Steps around Wagner, works it back in front, one hands that wide. Now you've got Wagner reaching for his stick while McDavid battles for the puck. And McDavid picks it out. Plays it down to Virtanen, finally picked off by Cahoon. And the elusive Dominic Cahoon plays it there for Frederick Tipples. Bounces wide of the Canadian goal. Morrissey back on it. Dropped it off, but Tipples picks it off, throws it back in front. Swatted away by Virtanen. Visman's pass was broken up by Fabry. Canada needs a change as Virtanen gains center ice and fires it down to the German zone. Visman dropped that back for Sifto, but it's picked off by Petan. Nick Petan with it now. Works it back in front for Krause. That pass was broken up. And the man who broke it up, Gabriel Cole, plays it back out to center ice. Here's Joe Higgins back on it. Petan plays it around for Hetherington. 2.5 gone here in the third period. Still 2-0 Canada on 2 first period power play goals. Joe Higgins flips that down to the German zone. Here's Krause back on it. Around to Petan. Trying to find Krause at the official skate. Now Petan back with it. Tim Bender. To the line, but not out. Shea Theodore couldn't knock it down. And Schmidpetter left it there for Kurt. Now both teams changing. Theodore has some time. Shea Theodore winds his way ahead. In comes Theodore. Throws it back in front. Gauthier threw that wide of the goal. Jonas Mueller plays it back up to center ice. Phelan was away, but Braden Point picked his pocket and sends it back down to the German zone. Now Paul back on it. Point for Gauthier. Back to Morin with a drive that goes off a leg and wide. Bounces it down to Point. Braden Point back with it. Down to Nick Paul. Leaves it there for Gauthier. Lines it back to Morin. Looks for the carom off the inboard. Doesn't get it. And Point back with it. Puts it back for Theodore, but that high pass too hot for him to handle. And it's back down to the Canadian zone. 17-14, the shots on goal in favor of Canada.
So the only line that remains the same in the first 4 rotation is this line: Domi, Duclair, Sam Reinhart. Everything else into the blender for Benoit Gros here.
Now brought in by Canada's Sam Reinhart with a quick shot, and Kevin Wright makes the save.
A couple good chances for Canada that don't result in a shot on goal. Jake Virtanen powers his way through Fabio Wagner. He's got two guys in front of the net, but he elects to shoot it. He hits the side of the net, and after Shea Theodore makes a nice move, Freddie Gauthier chips this wide of the net to the left-hand side.
Now Reinhart will step in for the face-off against Cahoon. And Reinhart wins it cleanly back to Morrissey, able to hold the line. And play back in the corner for Domi. Max Domi peels back on the goal line, shovels that back in front. Knocked away by Moser. Domi back with it. Banks it down to Reinhart. And Reinhart to Morrissey. Puts it back down low to Reinhart. And Sam Reinhart. Second overall to Buffalo in last year's draft, leaves it there for Domi. Tries to throw that back in front. And Ader gets there for Germany. To the line, but not out. Kept alive by Domi. His pass went off a skate. And the Germans are away. The lead pass for Tipples just missed. And Comrie knocked that to the corner. Sam Reinhart. Swings back for Canada. 5 gone here in the third period. Duclair. Works his way in. Poke check there by Wright. And Eisenschmidt has it back for the Germans. Ahead to Michaelis. Now Twomey on it. Parker Twomey being watched there by Darnell Nurse. The open corner to Fabry. And Robbie Fabry trying to chip it out. Eisenschmidt shoots. That's kicked away by Theodore. Duclair takes his man in. And that'll be a penalty to Canada, as Anthony Duclair knocks down Fabio Wagner. And the Germans will go on the power play. The question is, will Duclair also get 10 for this?
He almost certainly is going to. The signal is the check from behind penalty, and that likely is going to be a misconduct onto Duclair's 2 minutes.
The linesman's gone to Benoit Gros to tell him that someone's got to come and serve the penalty to Duclair. So Ritchie will come across, and Duclair has got a 10-minute misconduct to serve. Ritchie
hadn't been on the ice in this period as he's become the 13th forward, so he'll serve the minor for Duclair. Germany, their 6th power play, only 4 shots on goal in the previous 5. They can't ask for more chances than they've got here. Their power play just has not been able to come through for them to have this Canadian lead.
Mueller for Cahoon. Dominic Cahoon throws that ahead, trying to find Tipples with that pass. Bounced right back in front of the Canadian goal, but knocked away by Hetherington. Ader. Back for Visman, poked ahead by Gauthier. He's away with Hetherington, 2-on-1. In comes Gauthier, walks in and fires, and Reich makes the save with his arm. And back comes Visman the other way for the Germans. Drops it off to Tipples. In comes Cahoon with a chance. Backhands it back in front. Comrie knocks it away. Visman a shot. That's blocked. And the rebound cleared down the ice by Paul.
Darnell Nurse has blocked 3 or 4 shots in this game. He had a really good block in the opener against Slovakia. Had another one right there.
In comes Bender. Head for Twomey. Eisenschmidt being bumped there by Hicketts. Nurse. Head to Paul. And Tim Bender couldn't hold the line. The play's called offside.
So after Frederick Gauthier has a 2-on-1 and Wright makes the save with his left arm, the chance at the other end is foiled a little bit initially by Hetherington, and then there's Darnell Nurse who climbs into the play, closes on the shooter, and gets down to block the shot.
Now Nurse wraps it off the boards by Bender and back down the ice. 19-14, the shots on goal in favor of Canada. Germany's got 30 seconds to go in this power play. Eisenschmidt drops it off for Michaelis. He's taken down. Eisenschmidt back with it. Crisscrossing with Michaelis. Twomey looking for it, but it's knocked out to Reinhart. Domi got it to him. And Max Domi took a stick in the face as Reinhart fires the puck down the ice. In the final seconds, the penalty to Duclair being served by Ritchie. Schmidt-Petter fires it down. The long rebound given up by Comrie. That's cleared away. And Ritchie is back on. Josh Morrissey, rink line he goes for Madison Bowie. On the stick of Ritchie along with Krause and Patan. In comes Krause with a shot. He tapped it wide. Picked up by Cole. Schmidt-Petter with that pass, and now Bowie goes ahead for Patan. Bowie on the second try, goes to Lazar instead. Canada in the midst of a change as Lazar comes busting in. Gets around Mueller, lost the puck though. Patan comes racing in. And now Moran reaches in as well. Now Moran flips that back in the corner. Cole lost the puck to Lazar. Lazar had the puck for about 90 feet. Plays it back in the corner for Patan. Nick Patan still on it. Taps it back in the corner. Up comes Krause with a chance. Backhand shot stopped by Reich. And Kevin Reich hangs on for a face-off. We're back to Montreal after this. Enjoying tonight's game after a pretty good shot, top shelf. Here's Nurse with it now. Darnell Nurse drops it off from Virtanen. He shoots whistle that high. And it's by Theodore back down to the Canadian zone. Now Theodore picks his way ahead for Virtanen. He finds McDavid in stride. Connor McDavid in, drops it back. And Tipples picks it off.
So McDavid thinks Fabry's...
Now drop back for Tannen, shoots, and a glove save by Wright.
Well, McDavid thinks Fabry's going to the net. Fabry, instead of going to the post, comes to the slot. McDavid had room to drive this to the front of the net. Right here, he thinks Fabry's open, but Fabry drops in behind of the German defender Tiffels, and then McDavid gets the puck back. Virtanen wants to go up top on Reich. He doesn't get it all the way there, and a glove save by Reich. That's a good rush by McDavid. He was just saying, I thought you were going to the post. Fabry read the play differently, probably thought McDavid was going to go right to the front.
Now fed back in front. Sam Reinhart feeds it there. Score! Max Domi makes it 3-0 Canada. So Domi with goals in back-to-back games.
Off a rare face-off loss, Domi gets to the puck first, and Reinhart goes right back across the seam. Craig Button talked about this in the pregame show, about while you marvel at Domi's hands, it's his legs that really drive the game for him. Reinhart loses the draw. If Domi doesn't make the effort to get to the defender, that puck is never turned over, and then Reinhart, just a sweet dish to Max Domi, and it's 3-0.
And Sam Moran with it.
Canada's first 5-on-5 goal of the night comes about 50 minutes in, and that's a real important one for them. Not only to stretch the game out, but to get something without the man advantage.
Saftel looks in for Michaelis. He finds Eisenschmidt. He got spun around. Now Ritchie steps into Eisenschmidt. Chips it ahead as a look back for Reinhart and Domi. Fed back in front. Ritchie still with it.
This is an important period for Ritchie here. With Duclair in the penalty box, he's on the ice again. He was the 13th forward when the lines were juggled. He's got to do something here. Show Benoit Gros, don't forget about me.
And the puck goes over the glass and out of play. So Max Domi makes it 3-0. And his dad, Ty, having a good look at his son play. And I got to say this about Ty, and he attracted a lot of attention when he played. He has been very careful throughout his son's minor hockey and junior hockey career to make himself not part of the picture. He's not doing interviews this week. He's not very low profile, wants the focus to be on his son and make this tournament about him, not his dad.
It would be pretty easy for anything he says to become the story.
In comes Lazar with it now. Drops it back for Patan. What a move by Patan. Almost got a shot away. Now kicked across to Krause. A bitter disappointment for Max Domi last year not to be invited to try out after being a first-round pick of Phoenix, as Patan winds his way back in. Patan Backhands that for Lazar. Lazar back with it. Spins back in the corner. So this is Lazar with Krause and Petan. And the shot bounced in from Petan on the goal post. Rebound put wide by Krause. And Lazar back on it. Taps it back to Hetherington. Hetherington, backdoor pass for Petan. Looks back in front for Lazar. That skipped away from him.
Saw a glimpse of some pretty quick hands from Nick Petan. The initial shot deflected and stopped, and how quickly he got to the puck and just slid it across the net, and it touches the goalpost.
Now bouncing down to Reich. He'll hang on to that with Gauthier looking for the rebound.
Petan, who's become much more of a factor in the middle of the ice as opposed to where he started on the left wing. You see the deflection, right the stop, and look how quickly he takes it around him and goes back across the net to the goalpost. So Lazar moves on to the right side with Petan. In this line, juggling by Benoit Groulx. Shot 6-1 Canada here after getting outshot 10-6 in the second period.
8.5 to go in the third. Theodore puts it ahead for point. Here's Darnell Nurse ahead to Nick Paul. Ball being bumped there by Cahoon, stays on it, lost the puck, and Ader has it. Then he goes to Tipple. Lines that down in the Canadian zone as Shea Theodore goes back and leaves it there for Nurse. And Darnell Nurse steps ahead. Germans are changing as Darnell Nurse comes steaming in. Here's Nurse with a chance, backhand shot stopped by Wright. Coast to coast on buttered toast by Darnell Nurse.
I like that he found the open ice. He didn't risk anything to make that rush.
Now Shea Theodore with a long shot. And Wright makes the stop on that. 3-0 Canada with the lead, and Darnell Nurse almost made it 4. Tonight's game story brought to you by Molson Canadian, anything for hockey. Connor McDavid with a goal and an assist. Eric Comrie 15 saves and 11 goals for Canada so far in the tournament by 9 different players. At the line is Morrissey. And as important as that depth is, at some point someone has to assert themselves as the leading goal scorer, as the threat. Every time Canada wins a gold medal, someone makes a major splash as the goal scorer. And as well, someone asserts themselves as the offensive defenseman, and this man, Josh Morrissey, is the leading candidate. You think back to the 5 in a row by Canada a few years ago, as Bertanen got knocked down. Fabry centers it, McDavid puts it wide. You think about Dion Phaneuf and Shea Weber and Chris Letang,
Ryan Ellis,
PK Subban.
I don't know if they have a guy that's going to step out as a pure offensive guy like those players did, but they have several candidates to provide the offense. Morrissey and Shea Theodore, to me, jump to the front of the pack.
Now Ritchie drops it back. The long shot by Higgins is blocked loose in front. McDavid pokes it across. And Bender can't move it out for the Germans. McDavid onside, picks it off in the corner. Hooked it around Mueller. Michaelis has it now for the Germans. Counts are 25-15 Canada. Bender through the middle for Michaelis. That pass broken up by Hetherington. And Swomey comes across the line. The long shot blocked by Comrie. Here comes Domi with it now. Max Domi chips it ahead, streaks into the offensive zone. Domi throws it back in front. Bender picked that off. Domi and Bender were London Knights teammates last year when they played the Memorial Cup. And Hetherington has it now for Ritchie. Shovels that ahead for Domi. The pass just missed. Knocked down by Wissman. Now Kammerer with it. Fires it around. And here's Domi waiting for it. Shovels that ahead for Reinhart. Domi takes it back. A pass through the middle on the line for point. Just missed. And again, Anthony Duclair serving a 10-minute misconduct for Canada. The hitting from behind penalty. It's an automatic 2 and 10 in the IHF. Lead pass goes to Paul. Away comes Nick Paul. Goes ahead to Gauthier. Freddie Gauthier in a backhand shot stopped by Reich. And Reich will hang on to that. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. Your Home Depot gift card gets you the gift you really want. Let's do this. On a Saturday night in Montreal where the World Junior is taking center stage.
We've talked a lot about Canada's offense and the different options they have offensively. Defensively, they've been terrific. They haven't given up a goal since William Nylander's penalty shot in the pre-tournament game. They're well over 170 minutes now.
Penalty coming to Germany as Lawson Krause was hooked. Here comes McDavid with it. Drops the puck down to Patan. Nick Patan down to McDavid. Walks it back in front, trying to find Lazar. That was broken up. And finally touched up by Fohl for the Germans. And Canada will get a late power play here in the third period. I believe it'll be Fohl who goes off. No, check that. It'll be Kai Visman.
Another face-off win. This time it's Lazar. Reich doesn't catch the puck, and that puts Visman in a disadvantage as he ends up on the backside of Lawson Krause. He gets the hooking call, and Canada goes to the power play.
It's Lazar along with McDavid and Patan. Theodore and Bowie on the back end. Connor McDavid winds it back to Theodore. In for McDavid. McDavid back to Theodore. A long wrist shot was blocked in front. And Bender gets to it, has some time, and fires it down the ice. I think the linesman skate. And Theodore quickly plays it ahead for Bowie. Madison Bowie now a backhand pass in front. Miss Lazar. Bowie gets it right back. Drops it back to McDavid. Across for Theodore. Shea Theodore down to Connor McDavid. Works it in now for Patan. And Patan flips it back in front. Bowie shoots, scores! Madison Bowie on a sweet feed from behind the net. A power play goal to make it 4-0 Canada.
3 power play goals for Canada. Bowie takes the feed, and it's Patan's patience and passing ability that create this. Patan's down on the goal line. He doesn't see anything, so he's going to hold it behind the net. He moves himself a couple of feet to the right. That opens up the pass lane to Madison Bowie, who just stands there, waits for the pass, and then beats Kevin Reich to the glove side. So Nick Patan, 3 more points on the backside of 3 points in the opener against Slovakia. Canada's leading scorer has 6 points.
Madison Bowie had 8 goals in 28 games for Kelowna. One of the top goal-scoring defensemen in the Western Hockey League when he left for the Canadian Junior Selection Camp. And he's got his first World Junior goal to make it 4-0 Canada. So as so often happens, the score will belie the style of play. Germany will look to have been on the wrong end of a lopsided loss, but for a long time, especially 5-on-5, they've been very strong.
What Germany can look at this game and realize is they competed hard, they stayed tight in the game, and their power play was what let them down. They had 4 power plays in a row where they could have made this a 2-1 game.
In comes Paul with a long shot. That goes wide. And Reich will bounce on that.
So get another look at the goal. McDavid down to Patan. That's 3 points for McDavid today. 3 points for Patan on the power play. Lazar's in the middle of the ice, so Germany's worried about him. Nobody gets over to where Madison Bowie has moved down. And the Kelowna Rockets defenseman, who's got 33 points in 28 games for Kelowna, makes it a 4-0 game.
Off the face-off. Not done fairly, apparently, or a clock issue. There we go. Everything's fine.
Gord, another well-officiated game as well. Both of the penalties, the check from behind on the German player and Anthony Duclair were the right call. The player was shoved into the boards, and in international rules, those are 2s and 10s.
Now Morrissey with it. Long shot, and Reich makes the save. The difference would be now that international officials call it by the book from the beginning to the end of the game.
Right, and that's another adjustment the player has to make, because there are times when the rules get a little more lax, as the game moves along. We've seen penalties called with 30 seconds left in a tie game that it's a hook in the middle of the ice, and if it's a hook, it's a hook. I prefer it called that way, but when I was playing, boy, was it ever frustrating when those would happen.
Now Theodore with it, slides it back in front of the goal, picked off by Seftel. Germany back in action tomorrow night against Team USA. We'll get a close-up look at Jack Eichel and company. Now a steal by Domi. Max Domi in, feeds it back. Paul with a shot, and White got a piece of that. Looks like Max Domi's one of those guys where you better have your stick on the ice at all times because the puck might be coming. Flips it back in front. There's Wright over the backhand shot, stopped by Wright.
Max Domi could have about 6 points tonight. There's 2 wonderful passes, one to Paul, one to Reinhart. He missed a breakaway in the first period. He had a chance from about 15 feet in that first period as well. He scored here in the third.
Here comes Nurse again. Darnell Nurse tries to flip it back in front. Missed Lazar with it. And now Nurse just bowls over Schmidt-Petter. In comes Thole now. Works it back in front and shoots, and Comrie makes the stop on that.
After Max Domi had set up Nick Paul for one chance, Domi's going to get the puck on the neutral zone play. The quick transition, and he's going to find Sam Reinhart. Reinhart goes around Kevin Reich and is denied with the chance. Domi heads up, pass flat, and Reinhart just runs out of room.
Suomi with a shot that got blocked by Patan. Inside 2 minutes to go now in the third period. And Michaelis with it. Drops the puck back to Wagner. His shot goes off the stick of Hickenson wide. Now Hickett leaves it there for Moran. Krause fishes that out, but not out. And Wagner winds it off the end boards and misses the net. Back at the point is Mueller, wraps it around. Coming up is Wagner, leaves it there for Eisenschmidt. Eisenschmidt has time, a rolling puck, he fired it wide. And Lazar with it. Leaves it there for Moran. Michaelis picked his pocket, but Moran gets it back. And now in the middle of the ice, here's Krause with it. Lawson Krause to Nick Patan, who flips it down to the German zone and heads off. Final minute of the third period. Lead pass for Ader. Watched by Gauthier. And Braden Point has it back for Canada. Point winds his way through the middle of the ice. Drops it back to Bowie. Up ahead for Point, who chips that down to the German zone. Ader chips it down to the Canadian zone, looking for it, but Henrington got there first. Point kicks it across for Gauthier. And Cahoon plays it back. Seftel with a shot that goes high and wide. Now Bender with a shot that's high as well. Up the other side, Hetherington with it. And Dylan Hetherington banks out ahead, fed to Gauthier. Freddie Gauthier across to Paul, that pass missed. And Canada opens the World Junior Championship with back-to-back shutout wins after a 4-0 victory over Germany. And a happy Bill Comrie looks on as his son Eric.
Comrie
shutout win.
Comrie had a really good night. Busier than Zach Fucale in the opener. Canada's not allowed a goal in 184 minutes going back to the pre-competition. With 2 excellent defensive games, and you got to give Germany their props. They hung in there, they played hard. They gave Canada lots at 5-on-5.
So Scott Walker and Benoit Gros, the coaching staff, see their team go to 2-0, 6 points now for Canada. I'll sit back, take the day off tomorrow, and watch the United States take on this German team. And now we'll have the presentation of the Player of the Game Awards and the Canadian anthem.
Hankook. Tonight's Best Player Awards are sponsored by Hankook. Les prix seront remis par la coordonnatrice événements et marketing de Hankook Tire Canada, Madame Hiking et le président de Hockey Québec, Monsieur Réal Langlais. The awards will be presented by Mrs. Hykin, Marketing and Events Coordinator for Hankook Tire Canada, and Mr. Réal Langlais, President of Hockey Quebec. Le joueur du match pour l'équipe de l'Allemagne. The best player for Team Germany. Le numéro 3, number 3, Tim Bender. Le joueur du match pour l'équipe du Canada. The best player for Team Canada. Le numéro 17, number 17, Connor McDavid.
Goal and 2 assists for Connor McDavid as he bursts onto the scene in this 2015 World Junior and is named Canada's Player of the Game against Germany. Now he'll line up with his teammates and listen to the anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Remove your hats and caps for the national anthem of Canada.
Canada is 2-0 to start this World Junior Hockey Championship, with the toughest games are ahead. Next stop Monday night against Finland, but a night to treasure for Connor McDavid, who gets a goal and 2 assists, and for goaltender Eric Comrie, who gets the shutout and a souvenir. The 2015 World Junior Hockey Championship on TSN continues after this.